Not unlucky, just becoming strong. Introduction. Joseph was a young boy living in the United States whose life began with loss. His parents passed away when he was very young, leaving him alone in a world that felt cold and unfair. He had no relatives to guide him, no financial support, and no emotional shelter. Many people around him believed that such a beginning decides the end of a person's story. But Joseph's life slowly proved that hardship does not destroy destiny, it shapes it. This is not just a story of struggle, but a story of learning, patience, discipline, and inner growth. Each phase of Joseph's life became a lesson. Each insult became training. Each tear became wisdom. This story is divided into 13 life lessons that show how a broken beginning can still lead to a meaningful and successful life when a person chooses responsibility over self-pity. From silence to success, Joseph's 13 life lessons. Lesson 1. Life does not start fair for everyone. Joseph's life began with loss. When his parents passed away, he did not only lose a family, he lost safety, guidance, and emotional support. As a small boy in the United States, he watched other children walk with their parents, laugh freely, and feel protected. Joseph walked alone. This lesson teaches a hard but important truth. Life does not begin fairly for everyone. Some people are born with comfort, while others are born with struggle. This difference is not a sign of worth or punishment. It is simply reality. In the beginning, Joseph often asked himself why life was so cruel to him. He felt angry when he saw happy families. He felt broken when nights were silent and cold. These feelings were natural. Pain does not mean weakness. It means you are human. But Joseph slowly learned that asking "why me" did not change his situation. It only increased his sadness. Life does not explain its decisions. It only presents situations. This lesson shows that acceptance is the first step toward growth. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means understanding the truth without fighting it emotionally. When Joseph accepted that his life started differently, he stopped wasting energy on comparison. He began to focus on survival, learning, and effort. Comparison steals strength, while acceptance builds it. Many people stay stuck because they believe fairness is required for success. Joseph's story teaches the opposite. Fairness is not required. Courage is required. Discipline is required. Responsibility is required. The world does not adjust itself for our pain. We must adjust our mindset to face the world. Joseph realized that his past was not something he could change, but his response to it was fully in his control. He understood that blaming destiny would not feed him, protect him, or guide him. Only action could do that. This realization did not come overnight. It came slowly, through loneliness and thought. This lesson also teaches that hardship builds depth. People who suffer early often develop maturity early. Joseph learned silence, patience, and observation. While others depended on parents, Joseph depended on awareness. This skill later became his strength. Life's unfair beginning did not end Joseph's story. It prepared him for it. When you start from nothing, every small gain feels meaningful. Every lesson feels valuable. Joseph learned to appreciate effort, because nothing was free for him. If Joseph had believed that unfair beginnings decide final outcomes, he would have given up. Instead, He treated his beginning as training. He learned that storms do not come to destroy strong people, they come to create them. This lesson reminds us that your starting point does not define your ending. You may begin in pain, confusion, or loss, but that is not your identity. Your identity is built by how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward. Life may not start fair, but it always gives a chance to those who choose responsibility over complaint. Joseph. Joseph's first lesson is for anyone who feels left behind by life. It says that you are not weak because your beginning was hard. You are being shaped. When you stop fighting reality and start working with it, strength appears. Fairness is not promised in life, but opportunity exists for those who endure. Joseph stepped forward not because life was kind, but because he refused to let pain decide his future. This understanding became the foundation of every success Joseph achieved later, proving that strong roots often grow in the darkest soil and rise quietly toward lasting light. Lesson 2. Taking responsibility changes everything. After understanding that life was unfair, Joseph faced an important choice. He could either wait for someone to save him or take responsibility for his own life. With no parents, no relatives, and no support, waiting was dangerous. Hunger does not wait. Bills do not wait. Time does not wait. So Joseph chose responsibility. This decision became a turning point in his life. Joseph went to a landlord and asked for work. He did not ask for sympathy or free help. He asked for a job. This required courage. Asking for work means accepting effort, rules, and discipline. Many people prefer to complain because responsibility feels heavy. Joseph accepted that weight. Responsibility does not remove problems, but it gives direction. When Joseph started working, life did not suddenly become easy. The work was hard, and the pay was small. Still, responsibility gave him dignity. Earning even a little money through honest work gave him self-respect. This lesson teaches that responsibility builds confidence faster than comfort ever can. When you take care of your own needs, you stop feeling helpless. Joseph also learned that responsibility forces growth. When you depend on others, you stay small. When you depend on yourself, you grow skills. Joseph learned how to manage time, follow instructions, and complete tasks. These were not taught in school. They were taught by daily effort. Responsibility became his teacher. There were moments when Joseph felt tired and thought about giving up. But responsibility kept him moving. He knew that if he stopped, there was no backup plan. This lesson shows that responsibility creates inner strength because quitting is no longer an option. When you remove escape routes, focus increases. Many people believe freedom comes from having no duties. Joseph learned the opposite. True freedom comes from handling duties well. Because he was responsible, he earned trust. Because he earned trust, he gained opportunities. Responsibility opened doors that talent alone could not. This lesson also teaches that responsibility changes mindset. Joseph stopped blaming the world and started managing his actions. He stopped asking what life owed him and started asking what he could do today. This shift made him calmer and more practical. Problems felt smaller because his mind became stronger. Joseph's decision to work instead of complain separated him from many others in similar situations. Two people can face the same hardship, but the one who accepts responsibility moves forward faster. Responsibility does not mean life becomes fair. It means you become capable. Over time, Joseph noticed that people respected him for his effort. Even when the landlord was harsh, he could not deny Joseph's reliability. Responsibility speaks silently. It does not demand attention, but it earns it. This lesson teaches that responsibility is the foundation of every success. Dreams without responsibility remain wishes. Joseph's future began the moment he stopped waiting and started doing. He did not know where the path would lead, but he knew standing still would lead nowhere. By choosing responsibility, Joseph took control of his life. He may not have controlled circumstances, but he controlled his response. That control gave him power. This lesson reminds us that when life gives no support, responsibility becomes Responsibility becomes support. When life gives no direction, responsibility becomes the path. Joseph walked that path step by step, proving that taking responsibility is not a burden, but a beginning. Lesson 3. Respect is not always given at the beginning. The landlord gave Joseph a job, but not kindness. He often shouted at him and treated him harshly. Joseph felt hurt and disrespected. This lesson teaches that respect is not always immediate. Sometimes people test your patience before trusting your value. Joseph understood that reacting emotionally would cost him his position. Silence, endurance, and consistency slowly speak louder than words. Respect is often earned through stability, not demanded through emotion. Lesson 4. Sadness is natural, but staying there is a choice. Joseph sometimes felt deeply sad and depressed. Loneliness returned often. But he learned an important truth: feeling pain is human, but living inside pain forever is a choice. This lesson teaches that emotions should be felt, not obeyed. Joseph allowed himself to feel sadness but did not let it define his future. Strength is not the absence of pain, but the decision to move forward despite it. Lesson 5. Guidance appears when the mind is ready. One day, a monk visited the area. Joseph shared his entire story. The monk listened patiently and then spoke words that changed Joseph's life. He said, "Do your work with confidence. This is not because you are unlucky, but because you are special." This lesson teaches that guidance often comes when the heart is open. A single sentence from the right person at the right time can change direction. Wisdom does not always come from books, sometimes it comes from strangers. Lesson 6. Duty creates inner strength. The monk taught Joseph to see his work as duty, not punishment. When Joseph changed his mindset, his energy changed. This lesson shows that work done with purpose builds character. When duty becomes sacred, effort becomes peaceful. Joseph stopped seeing himself as a victim and started seeing himself as a learner. This inner shift created confidence that no insult could break. Lesson 7. Use free time to build the future. Joseph decided not to waste his free time. He started working at a shop when he was free. This lesson teaches that free time is either invested or wasted. Joseph invested his time in learning and earning. People who use free hours wisely change their future silently. Small efforts done daily create large outcomes over time. Lesson 8. Learning is everywhere for the curious mind. Joseph spent time with the landlord, not just working, but observing. He learned where products came from, where they went, and how management worked. This lesson teaches that education is not limited to classrooms. A curious mind turns every environment into a school. Joseph learned by watching, asking, and staying attentive. Lesson 9. Character earns love before success does. As Joseph grew skilled and disciplined, people began to like him. His honesty and dedication built trust. This lesson teaches that good character attracts support before money does. When people respect your values, they support your growth. Joseph's behavior created relationships that later became opportunities. Lesson 10. Time rewards consistency. After 3 to 5 years of hard work, Joseph gained deep knowledge. This lesson teaches that time rewards consistency, not speed. Success does not come suddenly, it grows quietly. Joseph stayed patient while others quit early. Consistency turned effort into mastery. Lesson 11. Confidence comes from competence. Joseph became confident because he knew his work. This lesson teaches that true confidence is built on skills, not words. When you know what you are doing, fear reduces. Joseph no longer felt small because knowledge made him strong. Lesson 12. Gratitude creates unexpected blessings. When Joseph decided to leave and start his own business, the landlord became emotional. He said he had no children and wanted Joseph to stay. He offered him the entire business. This lesson teaches that gratitude and loyalty return multiplied. Joseph gained not only a business but parents. Lesson 13. Destiny changes when mindset changes. Joseph realized that if he had accepted sadness as his identity, he would never have succeeded. This final lesson teaches that mindset decides destiny. Joseph's life changed because he chose growth over complaint, learning over blame, and duty over despair. His story proves that hardship does not end dreams, weak mindset does. Conclusion. Joseph's journey teaches that success is not about luck, but about choices made during difficult times. Those who endure with wisdom rise with strength.